Chapter 1 of The Future Belongs to the Letter C, How Curiosity, Creativity, Collaboration Will Bring Cure That Changes the World. In 2020, the world screeched to a halt, almost like a comic strip, frozen in midair. Media cycles threw dooms of chum into the waters. Fear slithered in. World leaders scratched their heads, clueless. Some people said, like in America, that the year 2020 was like the year 1974 with an impeachment crisis. It was like 1918 with the Spanish flu. It was like the Great Depression in 2008, the great financial problems, and then 1967 and 68 with civic unrest in the streets. It was like a conflagration of all these years put together. And in the midst of that, everything was up for grabs. Prophets and prognosticators had no idea what was coming next, but we can say with great assurity that the future belongs to the letter C. I want to define terms for you, because if I say the word California and I'm thinking Barstow, which is an area in Southern California that's desert. The only thing you're going to find there is horny toads and heat. Or if I say California, but I'm picturing Santa Cruz, which is tall, huge, 300-foot redwoods that have been alive for 3,000 years, I'm still saying the word California, but I've got two different images in my mind. So it's always good to define terms so we know exactly what each other's talking about. So let's start with curiosity. Do you remember when you were a child, how you'd look under every rock with expectancy? Do you remember how you just jump into mud puddles to just see the water displacement and see what would happen? Or jump into some leaves, a pile of leaves. You were curious about how things worked. Studies show, depending on which study you look at, that questions about 74 to over 200 a day is typical for a child to be asking. But as we get older, we stop asking questions. We end up in the land of settle. Not the land Seattle, one of my favorite cities in the world, but the land settle. In settle is where Lamo, Tamo, and Samo make their ancestral homes. Settle is the place where everything's just good enough to survive. Nothing more, nothing less. And in settle, the theme song is, Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not mine to see. Que sera, sera. I'm going to ask you to take that playlist off your mental playlist, your heart playlist, because settle will kill creativity, curiosity. There is so much to be discovered yet. Someone once said famously, everything that could ever be discovered has already been discovered. And that was like over 150 years ago they said that. Can you imagine that? But curiosity is the key. Ask lots of questions. Why are things the way they are? How could we make this different? What needs to come together? What price needs to be paid, both in intellectual capital and social capital and sweat equity? What needs to happen? Just keep asking questions. Curiosity is a beautiful part of bringing cure. Now, creativity, when we think creativity, we think of people that are really amazingly good. But all of us, like we said earlier in the preface, all of us are just walking illustrations of creativity. Everything about us is creative. Everything about us. The sperm and the egg coming together, that was collaborative, but it was also incredibly creative. Creativity is transcending normal, stereotypical relationships, ideas. It doesn't settle for the status quo. It has an intolerance for the status quo. Creativity is simply bringing two things together that haven't been brought together before. For instance, my dad worked at Point Mugu Missile Base, and he and another colleague invented a paint that was made out of rust. And that paint could be applied to planes, and it absorbed microwaves, so it made the plane or the ship less detectable to radar. And he took rust, he ground it, and he shaved it, and he froze it, and he boiled it, and he heated it. I don't think he boiled it, he heated it to great temperatures. And actually has a patent, which 14 patents were built off of that patent, just with rust. So it's applying something that hasn't been applied before to a thing, bringing two things together that haven't been brought together before. Collaboration is our next wonderful word in this. The future belongs to the letter C. Collaboration is the secret sauce. It's finding the tribe that makes your heart sing and working together on your dreams. Joey and I have a wonderful collaborative relationship. I'm a content provider. I'm a producer. I could keep 1,000 people busy. But Joey can implement almost any vision you come up with. So we have this wonderful working relationship because I'm not really interested in the technical side. I just know how I want it to look in the end. But Joey will study all night complicated manuals to figure out how to make things work. If you need something to happen, you need a Joey in the equation. And you need collaborative relationships, because if you're just a lone ranger by yourself trying to do something creative, it's not going to go as far as if you find a tribe that makes your heart sing. Also, the next C is the word cure. And cures are big and small. I don't want you to think of cures just in a medical the sense. The root word of cure is the care of souls. It means to bring healing. It's where we get the word accurate. Cure is a beautiful word, and it just means healing something that's broken. Now, we all know that the world is pretty broken. There's corrupt leadership everywhere in the world. There's ignorance, there's illiteracy, there's racism. There are millions of things in the world that need your cure to be brought to them. And they'll be brought to them through you being curious about it, you being creative about it, you being collaborative in finding a tribe that makes your heart sing. You will bring cure because creativity is within you. It's within every person. Now, creativity and cure can be very small. It can be very big. A lady in Missouri during the lockdown in COVID-19 in the year 2020, she got 3 Costco bears and just put them on her lawn in different arrangements, and little children that would take a daily walk or once a week walk that they could get out of the house, they would take pictures of these bears because they would be like the 3 little pigs. They would be bears doing spring cleaning. They would be bears having fun. She would just dress them all up. So it was like a window display on her front lawn. Now, that is a small cure because it brought joy to little children that could have been very depressed through lockdown. Another cure was a school in Holland found out that it was traumatizing the children, that their parents had to leave them off at the gate and couldn't walk them to the classroom. And so they decided to put a bubble machine at the gate, so the children forgot their anxiety about being not attached to their parents on the way to the classroom and just entered this wonderland of bubbles. That's a small cure, but it's a cure. It's a cure for a problem. Another cure that's more of a major cure is Israeli scientists are pioneering bubbles as they eject bubbles into cancer cells and they explode and it obliterates the cancer. And then whatever's remaining, they put like a little Trojan horse immunosuppressant in. So bubbles have all these wonderful possibilities of a bubble machine. Little first and second graders, primary school children can walk through. Bubbles that can help cure cancer. Bubbles, actually, there's a soda manufacturer that makes soda machines that you can create any kind of soda in your kitchen. They have been working on transforming some of their equipment into CPAP machines and breathing machines for people suffering with COVID. So bubbles play a huge role. Rust plays a huge role. It's not like there's big complicated things. There's little cures and there's great cures and there's medium cures. But I believe you have a cure that the world needs. And we want to talk about how do we develop that, how do we think about that, and how do we bring that cure to the world. The beautiful thing about curiosity, creativity, collaboration, and cure is it's not limited to any geography. It's not limited to people of a certain class or financial situation. The problems are everywhere. The cures are everywhere. There is not a single problem on the globe that does not have a corresponding cure. It just needs someone to believe that they could be the one that brings it. And I believe that person is you. It's why I wrote the book. It's why we're doing these classes. I believe that inside you is a curiosity, is a creativity, is the possibility for collaboration that brings beautiful cures to the world's problems. And you'll know which one has your name on it by knowing what moves your heart. And we're going to talk about that. You'll know the cures you're supposed to bring because of the things that sometimes hinder you. You will know the cures that are inside you, the creativity, the curiosity, the collaboration that is possible as we go through this book. I'd like to encourage you as an activation for this to play the game, The Future Belongs to the Letter C. The instructions will be in your notes, and it will be simply downloading your choice of 5 different countries, reading some fact sheets about them, and then throwing some coins, 5 coins, and that decides how many points you have. If you have 3 heads, you get 3 points, or however whatever similitude of coins come up. And then it's a discussion about how could we create cures for these global problems. And so it's not a competitive game, it's a discussion game, and you win by how many coins you toss, and you pick a country and you read the fact sheet. All the instructions are in the notes. We encourage you to play it with your family or with your friends, or we encourage you to just have a dinner when it's socially acceptable and permitted health-wise, to have some friends over and watch a TED Talk. Maybe their favorite TED Talk. Maybe everybody bring one favorite TED Talk that's 18 minutes long, and then just discuss it together. We have lots of activations for you in this course, and they'll all be in the notes under Explore and Plunge Deeper.